shoulder external rotation, PAILS and rails. This is going to be performed in the prone position. This is probably the easiest way to start to improve this specific range of motion because we can use a lot of different things to get the job done. So what we're trying to improve here is this range of motion right here. So external rotation of the shoulder. So very simply, we're going to set you up in a stretch here that gets you in that position. If possible, we use a yoga block to start. It's very cheap, very accessible, very easy. However, you can also use books. So if you got books at home, those will be really easy to kind of put in place for that as well. I like when we lay down here to kind of elevate the elbow in this position like so. So right from here, I can elevate my elbow slightly. I'm laying down on my chest. My hand is elevated right here. If that gets me a stretch into external rotation, great. I stop there and I rest. Okay. The protocol for PAILS and rails, as always, is we start with a 2-minute passive stretch. If I'm in this position and I don't really feel a stretch, so if my shoulder external rotation is average or good, and right here doesn't get me a stretch, cool. I get a little bit deeper. Hey, that doesn't get me a stretch yet. Okay, what about here? Okay, and in some cases, I may even take away that pad and do a shoulder stretch there. Usually, if you're in this range, you don't really need to expand that much, but some populations, I'm thinking mostly of like a pitcher, do need that kind of external rotation. But let's say, hey, I'm in this range right here. I've got my shoulder stretch. I'm relaxing right here. After 2 minutes, I do what's called a PAILS contraction and then a rails contraction. My PAILS contraction is going to be trying to drive my right hand into the block. So right from this position, I'm going to drive my hand downward. I'm going to squeeze that shoulder joint and try to get and work up to a max effort rep for 10 seconds. So I'm going to hold my PAILS, pushing the hand down as hard as I can, making sure if the block wasn't there, I'd be doing this motion. Okay. Immediately after that PAILS contraction, so I ramped up tension. I start at 10%, 20, 30. I'm really squeezing at 100% for 10 seconds. As soon as I do 10 seconds at 100%, I then switch and go the opposite direction. So from here, I try to drive my hand up to the ceiling. If I have limited range, this should be very, very tough. So for example, if we did your assessment and we only saw range to here, like trying to lift off the hand is not going to happen. That's okay. Our goal is simply to try to drive that hand up as high as we possibly can. If it gets off the ground, cool. Make sure your scap isn't assisting. Make sure your chest isn't coming off the ground too. You want to make sure it's just shoulder doing it. But even if I don't even lift off at all, I'm still contracting this back side of the shoulder joint to try to work into that range of motion as best I can. Don't skip the 2-minute stretch. Make sure you get a good passive stretch for those full 2 minutes. And then as I try to drive off, try to get off as best you can, even if it doesn't lift off. You can also use kettlebells for this as well. So I can take, if all they have is a kettlebell, cool, I can elevate it like that. As I get better and better at it, we can even get higher. So hey, over time, if this guy's even heavier, if I get into a deeper external rotation stretch, I can also get it right here where I relax into that position, hand gets in deeper range, thereby training them deeper in range of motion.